Hi everyone, Jack again, the Inspired Piper. This is episode 2 on civility versus respect. Episode 5 if you're Roman. Yes, I'm a funny guy too. Alright, so this came about a couple of months ago. I was going through my Facebook feed, just looking at stuff, and I came across this quote that I will read to you right now. I don't follow the respect is earned philosophy. I respect everyone automatically, and then each person has the opportunity to lose my respect based on their behavior. Now, initially, maybe that sounds right, but it didn't really resonate with me. That didn't sound right. So, packed the bowl and started thinking about this. And I said, well, okay, let's start with definitions. If we're going to use words, definitions matter. So I started looking up some of these words. For example, respect. What is this thing respect that we demand? So went to the Oxford Dictionary, and respect is defined as a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Then I thought of civility, and so let's define that. It is formal politeness and courtesy in behavior or speech. Now, there's also being civil. Civility, is something that we aspire for, but being civil, very similarly, is courteous and polite. And then respect is earned. So what does it mean to earn? Well, it means to gain deservedly in return for one's behavior or achievements. So, putting all that together, this person does not subscribe to the respect is earned philosophy. But we've just seen that respect is deep admiration for someone based on their abilities, qualities, and achievements. If I meet you for the first time and I know nothing about you, how can I possibly have respect for you? How can I possibly have deep admiration? That doesn't make any sense. Asking for respect by default is like having an employee and you say, well, here, I'm going to pay you for 40 hours this week, right? And at the end of the week, if you've only worked 32, well, I'll take back the 8 hours that you didn't work of pay. Like, in what universe does that make sense? So respect by default didn't make sense to me. And then I thought of earn. Like, respect is earned, but, gain deservedly. Now, to me, if I'm going to respect someone, I don't really expect them to prove themselves to me. It's none of their, they don't have to prove themselves to me, and it's not how I'm going to gain respect for that person. It's about who they are. It's their character and their abilities and qualities and achievements. And as I get to know them, this will increase, based on my framework, my worldview, my philosophy and beliefs and intellectual pursuits and interests. If it matches up with what and who they are, then they earn my respect. It's not something they have to go out and do. It's who they are. Now, my wife and I had a bit of a debate on that because, her argument was, well, who am I to decide whether they should have my respect based on, my framework and my philosophy and beliefs. Well, true enough, I think at this point we get into morals and morality, but I think overall, as a society, we can all agree whether a person is an asinine jerk and, deserves respect or not, or is someone that is generally in line with what we value as a society, and then our respect for them can increase. Now, does that mean you start off at zero all the time? Absolutely not. Even if you don't know the person you've never met, well, maybe you know something about them. So the example I want to use is the mayor of our small town here in southern Alberta. His name is Jeff, and he's been mayor here for, a year and a half now, a little over a year and a half, going on 2 years this fall. And I had never met him before he, posed for his candidacy for mayor a year and a half ago. Saw him in the newspapers, but knew not much about him. Then started looking into who he was. Found out that he had a business here in town for 16 years. Now, owning a small business, he owns a coffee shop, which is very successful. Owning a business by itself is an achievement. For 16 years, that's an achievement, right? And then he won as mayor. He won the election and became mayor. Well, that's another achievement, and that talks about abilities, right? The ability to run a business, the achievement of, running and winning an election at any level of government is quite the achievement. So right off the top, he's got abilities, he's got achievements that, all right, I got some respect for this guy, but what about his qualities, right? I mean, I can look at this very objectively and go, right, he's got certain abilities and certain achievements, but who is he? How is he in person? He can still be an absolute jerk. As it turns out, at one point I did have a reason to meet with him and discuss a certain topic with him. And we met in his coffee shop where there was people milling about, people going in and out. And what I found fascinating is that he was absolutely focused on what I was talking about. He wasn't constantly looking around at people coming in. He was listening to me and engaged in the conversation, taking notes. Absolutely brilliant, great questions. And I've gotten to know him since. And it turns out he's a great guy. So just to make the point that it doesn't mean we have absolutely no respect, deep admiration for people just because we've never met them. We may know something about them on a social level and have at least a minimum of respect for them. But, the more we get to know someone, engage with someone, hopefully that respect is earned. Now, I've also often heard younger people, kind of get, not upset, but they find it a little irritating that older people demand respect. And okay, I'm getting up there in years. There's a lot more young people that I come across. And I would never think of demanding respect. That seems a little narcissistic, doesn't it? So again, and it's not like I feel like I have to prove that I need to earn their respect. I should hopefully earn their respect based on who I am, my character, the way I articulate myself, and what I do, my actions, and hopefully I will earn their respect. But to demand respect, again, didn't sound right to me. So, it's not something I want to cheaply give away. Respect should be a very valued human currency, in my opinion. So what is the alternative? We keep demanding respect and people want to give respect away. But thinking of all these definitions, that doesn't make sense to me. So I thought of civility. There's a word that seems to have gone out of style. Why can we no longer be civil with each other? So, being polite and courteous. Like, even if I've never met you, I will absolutely be civil with you. I have no reason not to be unless you display some outrageous behavior that does not warrant my civility. And at that point, I'll just say, hey, dude, I'm done. I'll walk away. And hopefully we stay away from people like this. But at a most basic human level, civility, I think, is what we need to bring back. Being civil towards each other, courteous and polite. I think it's really lacking today, and especially when you go on social media. I mean, it's horrendously evident how uncivil people can be, the name calling, and how often conversations or posts on Facebook or Twitter will denigrate into name calling and just an incredible amount of idiocy. So we fail to be civil. We fail to take into account who the other people might be that we're dealing with. And I personally think we could make a much better world if we would just bring civility back on the front burner and learn to be more civil towards each other, which should lead to respect based on who the people are, their character, and what they do. So those were my pipe thoughts around civility versus respect. I wanted to make this a fairly early episode in the YouTube channel because, as I mentioned in the intro, I'm hoping to talk about things here that will generate feedback and debate. And so if we do, let's keep it civil. All right? Everyone, I wish you happy smokes and happy thoughts. Till next time. Bye.